Hey guys, I'm Diamond86, and today we're going to be talking about Arsenal's winter transfer window, January transfer window. It's obviously February 2nd, my time now, so the window's gone and shut. And also, my busy ass schedule this week has finally come to an end, so I've got time to actually sit down and record a video for the couple of you that are interested in my opinion. So I'm just going to give my opinion, my reaction to the signings we made, and the signings we were linked to, and all that jazz. Because it was a lot. This January was just a lot. Um, Partly because we're top of the league and all the pressure that comes with, and the media BS as well. We're going to go straight into the signings. I think I'm just going to talk about who we signed and the positions, and then I'll talk about why we signed them. So first off, we got Leandro Trossard from Brighton. Really astute signing. Premier League proven. He scored a hat trick against Liverpool a few weeks back. Um, he's a good signing. I just want to point out, I want to talk about. So I'm going all over the place already, but I think the first thing I want to talk about is why we signed these players and the positions that we needed to fill in. So all we signed three players. We signed Leandro Trossard, who's going to be a wing player, probably out on the right, but I think he can play on the left as well. Um, then we signed Jakub Kiwior. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry, my Polish peeps. He's 22. He's a centre back, but I think he might also be playing in the CDM role. We'll wait and see on him. He's more of a prospect. Backup, he's a really good, highly rated defender. I don't know his stats off my top of my head. I should have prepared, I guess. But he looks like one for the relative future. I don't really know if he's going to be a centre back. But at the end of the day, apart from um, our starting centre backs, Saliba and Gabriel, we've only got Holding as backup. Holding is good, but he's like a seven, and he won't go to higher and he won't go lower. He's just like a seven constantly. So bringing Kvyat on off the bench or maybe rotating him in the cup games maybe might be the best option. Or maybe he might develop into a midfielder. That remains to be seen. And then we also signed Jorginho from Chelsea, which is a bit of a controversial one. We'll talk about all of them individually, but the first thing I want to talk about is why we signed them. So we signed a winger. We needed to sign a winger because we've got Saka on the right, we've got Martinelli on the left. There are established first team 11 wingers. We needed backup, and very extremely light at the moment. Obviously, Nelson's injured, but I think he's coming back soon. Marquinhos, just not at the level, similar to Lakonga. That's what I'm trying to think of. Some Lakonga and Marquinhos are the same. They got bags of talent. You can see it. It's obvious. Marquinhos probably is a little bit better because he's performed better for Arsenal this season, in my opinion. But they both got talent. They both could have potential as well. And we'll talk about them in a minute because I got loaned out. So we didn't really have any kind of outright winger backup options. We had Gabriel Jesus, but obviously he's not injured. He would have been our left winger replacement if we needed one, but he's coming back in about a month or so, which is awesome. We'll talk about him in a minute as well. But yeah, we needed a winger. But the thing is we needed a winger that was good enough to be on the bench, basically a bench player. No disrespect to Trossard, but we have our established first 11. Saka is our established right winger, and Martinelli is our established left winger. They're our best players in those positions, and we are also incidentally trying to negotiate contract extensions for both players. So bringing in a Mudryk, for example, who we're linked with quite strongly, we made a couple of bids for. Um, Especially for 80 odd, 90 odd million pounds. Um, he that money and his profile would have demanded first team action, regular. So do you take Saka off to put Mudryk in? Like I would be questioning that. But having said that, having Mudryk and Saka and maybe Martinelli as well, all fighting for the winger spot. It would be fantastic, but there's no way you can please all of the players. Um, and yeah, why would you pay £90 million for someone that's essentially at least going to start off the bench? Um, like it just didn't. It didn't make sense. It was nice. Obviously, it's one of those things you get tempted to buy, and you're like, "Oh, that's cool." But the more you think about it, the more you realize like we have our established first 11. Like I could rattle off the first 11 best team for Arsenal right now off the top of my head. And yeah, Saka and Martinelli are our top wingers. So we needed someone that could be on the bench, basically get game time. He's going to be off the bench. I mean, we saw him um, the last game. He came off the bench, did really well for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. And Trossard for me is he's 28. He's already Premier League proven. He's a good player for Brighton, who are not necessarily I mean, they are a great team, but they're not the upper end of the Premier League kind of team. So you imagine him being surrounded by Odegaard, Nketiah, maybe Jesus, um, all of our wingers, well, our other wingers. Um, you think that his numbers could go up because he's technically, I think, surrounded by better players now, is what I'm trying to say. So but he's probably going to be happy being on the bench at least for a while. He knows he's going to get game time. We are going to be starting Trossard in plenty of games, probably even Premier League games coming up. I mean, at some point we are going to not have to play Saka in a Premier League game or Martinelli in a Premier League game. Um, so it keeps everyone happy. Saka knows that he's still the first team right winger. Martinelli knows he's the first team left winger. Trossard's getting decent money now in Arsenal. He's also potentially winning a trophy this season. Um, and he knows he's going to be called upon. Like, we are going to be using a lot of Trossard a lot of times. So, yeah, basically all the three of these signings are backup options. Kivior's got a chance to get into the first team, but you can't imagine him displacing Gabriel or Saliba anytime soon. Um, and then Jorginho, I mean, we were linked with Casado from Bayern. I think he would have been awesome. He's super young as well. Casado made more sense to me than Mudryk did, because Casado fits the bill. One for the future. We're going to develop him. He's going to be a part of the same team for a long time. We're going to develop the whole team together, blah, blah, blah. Um, and I think he probably would have been happy not starting for a while, I think. Some people disagree, some people think that he would have demanded to start. I don't think so. I think he would have been quite happy because, again, we're going to use him. We're going to use the hell out of Jorginho. Um, and it would have been really good. I think, he was the signing of the winter that I really wanted to happen. But the money, man, is there's no better sign of how bad the Premier League is now when Brighton, no disrespect to Brighton, but Brighton, who won, are a lower level, technically a lower level club in the Premier League. But they also have a history of selling players. They are, quote unquote, a selling club. They sell their best players to bigger clubs for a lot of money. They've made loads of money in the last few seasons that they've been in the Premier League. Even they turned down, and we made I think the highest was £75 million offer for him in January. And they still were like, nah, we're good. Like, for Brighton to do that, it tells you everything you need to know about the Premier League. We weren't helped by the fact that Chelsea have spent like £400 billion this month. And now everyone else in the entire world's going, well, Mudryk went for 80 million. Oh, well, Enzo went for 120 million. We want that kind of money now. So they've kind of screwed everyone else over, especially Man United fans. But Man United are dumb enough to actually pay that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's another thing. So yeah, it would have been nice to have Casado in. He would have been a long-term player. Xhaka and Partey are both elderly now in terms of football. Xhaka, I think, is 29. 28, 29, I think he's 29. And Partey, I think, is like 31 now. Partey's the best midfielder in the league, but still, you can imagine that he's probably got maybe 2 seasons left at the top level. He's a little bit of an injury scare as well. Touch wood, he's been brilliant this season. I don't want to jinx it, but there's always that worry. And, our midfield pairing, the days are numbered. Xhaka hasn't even, I don't think, renewed his contract yet. I think his contract runs out in the summer, or it might be next summer. Um, and he wanted to go last season, or the season before. He wanted to go to Roma with Jose Mourinho, but Arteta persuaded him to stay, and thank God he did. They're our best midfielders right now, for sure, but that time is limited. And I think bringing Casado in, having half a season this season, gently bringing him into the squad, because we will use him, like I said, but it won't be dependent on him straight away. He won't have that pressure. And it's Premier League proven as well. He would have been a good addition. But, if Brighton had turned down £75 million for him, then, alright, fine, whatever, we'll come back in the summer. Pay less, whatever. So we ended up going with Jorginho instead. Obviously, Jorginho apparently is a player that Arteta has wanted for years. And he's finally got him. And yeah, Jorginho, I think, is much more going to be happier being on the bench, being a squad player, being a backup. There's a lot of memes about him being slow, but we're a possession-based team. I think only Man United have given us grief on the counter this season so far. Which obviously we all seen that meme of or that gif of Partey catching up to Anthony and just tackling him. It's so funny. It's brilliant. Jorginho is never going to do that. But we are a possession-based team. If things are going well and we're winning, then we're going to be alright. It's just he's not going to be chasing after balls and stuff. But he's a good passer. He's a good tackler. So I think he does a decent job depending on the tactical situation and what's going on in the games. Loads more people will know more about that than I do, but I think he's happy. He's Premier League proven. He's won pretty much everything in the game. He's like Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus in that way. He brings a winner's mentality into the squad. He's yet another captain in the squad now. Somebody else that Saka, Martinelli, Eddie, pretty much everyone but Jesus and Zinchenko will look up to and think, wow, he's won everything, apart from the World Cup, but he's won the Champions League, he's won the Premier League, I believe, as well. So he brings a lot to the squad as well, which is underrated in my opinion. We praise Zinchenko for it, we praise Gabriel Jesus for it, and I think we'll end up praising Jorginho for it as well. So there are 3 signings. Centre back for the future, which is great because obviously we would say that Holding's our third choice centre back right now, but Kiwior is probably gonna overtake him soon. Centre mid, which is what position we were crying out for. If we had not signed a centre mid this January, I tell you, you think Arsenal fans have been in meltdown on Twitter? You would have no idea. If we did not buy any midfielder this January, I would have flipped out because it's a glaring issue within our squad right now. Probably the glaring issue, in my opinion, is the position for me. Some people say wingers, some people say right backs. For me, it's midfield. We needed midfield, and obviously, all these players are now back up, so our bench looks absolutely much more better now. With Nelson coming back as well, with Gabriel Jesus coming back in probably a month. He's already training on the pitch. I think a month ago he had just come out of surgery and now he's walking around without a brace. He's training lightly on the actual football pitch. The guy is absolutely busting his balls trying to get back onto the pitch and back onto the squad because he knows how special this season has been, and he wants to be a part of it. And it's awesome, providing he doesn't push himself too soon and obviously re-injure himself. As long as he's doing it, his due diligence, then yeah, that's so amazing to see. So that's the signings. Our bench, like I say, our bench looks absolutely much more better now. Turner, obviously, in goal, he's doing really well for us in goal. Some people say he should be number 1, and I don't think he's going to leave either. even if we don't win the league this season, there's no way at the end of the summer he's going, I'm good enough to be in the first team. He'll be in Arsenal probably for at least another season. And if he's still blatantly a backup, which I think is going to happen, I don't see Ramsdale getting displaced. But every team needs two goalkeepers, really. Obviously, injuries happen, but it's, so many games, 38 league games, plus all the Carabao Cup games, plus all the FA Cup games, plus the, I don't know, 9 or 10 or 11 Europa League games. We need two goalkeepers, and Turner is at the moment an adequate replacement for Ramsdale. I don't think he's been tested too badly yet. I think we have to wait and see on Turner, but at the moment he's impressed me. I think he's only conceded one goal as well, which is crazy. Trying to stop myself from sneezing. So yeah, that's the signings. I mean, when you're linked with Mudryk and then for 18 million, and then you're linked with Caicedo for 75 million or 80 million, whatever, and you don't get them, you're gonna feel disappointed by it. And there is kind of that accusation where, well, you're just trying to find the positive in a really bad situation because you have to. But yeah, but there are positives to these signings. Like I've said, two of them are Premier League proven, doing well. They do well in the Premier League. One of them's won pretty much every single trophy that you can win, and the other one scores goals against the big teams in Brighton. So you'd imagine that you can do even better in Arsenal. They're all happy to be squad players. They all know and recognise and probably are okay with the fact that they're not going to be first 11 players. We're not look. We were never looking for first team players in this January transfer window at all. Mudryk, Caicedo, we never thought, okay, they're going to replace somebody from the first team. They were coming in to bulk up the squad because of their age as well. You'd think that a couple of 20-year-olds would be okay starting on the bench for a bit and then being used more regularly and then rotating or whatever. But these three are happy to be on the bench. They're happy to, at the moment anyway, to come in as and when. And I think that's awesome, and that's what we were looking for. We weren't looking for first team players. Teams like Chelsea, who have blown so much money, we can take the piss out of Chelsea till the cows come home. But they're buying first 11 players. Their first 11 blatantly has not been working this season because they're 10th. They're abysmal this season. They're so trash. Probably the worst Chelsea team in 10 years, I would say. So they needed to bring first team players in. They needed to bring players in that can jump into the first team. I don't think Mudryk and Enzo can do that, by the way. I think Mudryk did well in his little cameo when he came on off the bench. He's rapid as, but he obviously missed a sitter. There's enormous pressure on those boys now because they're the price tags. We saw it with all the big money side. Maguire, Van Dijk was criticised to no end, even though he ends up winning the Premier League and he's won the Champions League a couple of times. He's still criticised. He was criticised a lot. 75 million for a centre back, are you crazy? That kind of stuff. So there's all for pressure. The Chelsea and Arsenal thing are different. Plus, I mean, their owner, I don't think knows what he's doing. I think he's just thinking, oh, big names, big money, well, let's just go for it because, keep the fans happy. There's no overall strategy. He's like, oh, you need a winger and you need a centre midfielder? Okay, I'll buy these two players because the price is high and Arsenal are in for them. Well, Arsenal was never in for Enzo, but I don't know, there's just a scattergun kind of, you don't know what you're doing vibe with Chelsea right now. But the one thing that you can see is that they needed players to come into their first team, and we couldn't offer that. We couldn't turn around to Mudryk and Caicedo as well, because obviously Chelsea were in for Caicedo. We couldn't turn around and say, yeah, you'll jump straight into our first team. We can do that. We've got our established first team. We need you on the bench to come off the bench and impact the game and not let our quality go down. So these three signings do it for me. I mean, I'm quite happy with it. There's a thing here. How would you rate Arsenal's transfer window out of 10? I'd probably give it a 7. In fact, we got Jorginho on a short-term contract. I think it's like 18 months, which is great. Gets us to the end of the season. And for me, it's like, rather going to win the league or we're going to be in the Champions League. That's the ultimate. The Champions League for me is the ultimate goal. Obviously, winning the league. I'm not quite at the stage yet when I'm allowing myself to dream that we can win the league. It bleeds in a couple of times. A couple of times I catch myself thinking, wouldn't it be great? But I'll keep my feet on the table, or feet on the floor, should I say? Feet on the table. Um, Man City seem to have found their form, and they're going to be breathing down our necks for the next 3 or 4 months. So that's going to be fun, and we have to wait and see how we deal with that. Starting with Everton on Sunday, which I'm going to go and watch with my friends. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's been too long since I've been to the pub to watch football with them, which is going to be great. And obviously the final thing I want to talk about is the loaning. So we ended up loaning out Lokonga to Crystal Palace, which is amazing because Patrick Vieira is coaching or managing Palace and arguably the best midfielder in the world. Some people say Keane and Lampard or whatever. This is Patrick Vieira, okay? So you want Lokonga, who's a midfielder who obviously needs improving and refining, to learn under a world-class midfielder. So, and also you'd imagine that he would get plenty of game time at Palace. Obviously, Vieira's brought him in for a reason. I think he'll get plenty of game time, and mixed with game time, mixed with the fact that he's got Vieira teaching him, I think might help him out. And then we loaned out Marquinhos to Norwich, which I think is absolutely a fantastic move. I think there's another Brazilian there as well, which is great. So he's got somebody to help settle him in. Again, first team action. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the Norwich and absolutely smashes it. I think Norwich are top of the championship. I'm pretty sure they're in the title race anyway. So if he can help them, then that's great for us. Obviously, he can develop. He's not going to get much game time, you would imagine. We played him so much so far anyway because we had to. We had no other backup, especially with Nelson being out. Even with Nelson in the squad, Marquinhos got a couple of minutes for us, especially in the Europa League. But yeah, we needed someone a bit more down the establishment level, if that makes sense. We needed someone further along in the development, should I say. Hopefully he smashes it in the championship. I think it's an absolute great move. And then I cannot end this video without talking about following Balogun. I'm going to do another video in a minute actually on Balogun because there's lots to talk about with him, but he's smashing it in France right now. Obviously we loaned Saliba back to France and he absolutely smashed it, came to us after we signed him and after his loan, and he's now established as one of the Premier League's best centre backs. Balogun, man, what a player! He scored a hat-trick last night, scored against PSG the other day as well. He's the league top scorer right now. He's got a goal more than Mbappe of all people. Mate, next season, bro, we could have Jesus and Ketia and Balogun. There may be a thing. People seem to think, oh, Balogun might want to leave. He's not. People. I'm not going to talk too much about Balogun because I'm going to do a video. But he's doing amazing, and it's exactly how you want a loan move to happen. He's doing much better than Flores is at the moment, but Balogun's obviously a few years older than. I think it's a couple of years older than Flores. But doing brilliantly. So at the moment, it's all good. We got Everton next, which is a weird game because obviously they got Sean Dyche in now. And manager bounced back. It always seems to happen against us. But anyway, guys, hope you like my reaction. I hope I explained my opinion. 25 minutes, I think so. But leave me in the comment down below what you thought about our new signings. Who do you like? Who do you don't like? Talk to me about Mudryk and Caicedo if you want. Banter me if you want. I could take it most of the time. Take it easy, guys, and I'll see you guys in a couple of days when I review the Everton game. So, take it easy, guys, and I'll see you guys very soon. Adios.